back on Get Down to Business. Today we're talking about a topic that is front and center for every entrepreneur. It's taxes. Our guest is here to tell us that taxes aren't just a burden to be managed. They're actually a powerful tool for building wealth. I'm thrilled to introduce Michael Uadiale. Michael is a skilled CPA and a tax planning expert who has helped entrepreneurs preserve over $15 million in taxes through his DECIDE, that's an acronym, by the way, tax reduction framework. He's the creator of Smead CPA, a seven-figure firm that's part of the exclusive tax-free wealth network. Think of them as the Navy SEALs of tax professionals. What makes Michael so unique in his entrepreneurial journey, he is not just a number-crunching accountant. He's a fellow business owner who has launched 6 other profitable ventures, including companies in real estate and cutting-edge telehealth software. And I'm super excited to once again welcome Michael Uadiale to the show. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you so much. I appreciate being on your show today.
Absolutely. As mentioned, you're not just that typical CPA. You're a serial entrepreneur. I know our listeners can resonate. How has being in the same shoes as your clients given you a unique perspective on tax planning and wealth building?
That's a very excellent question. So I think every entrepreneur, successful or just starting out, face all kinds of challenges at different stages of their business life cycle. So having gone through that life cycle for about 6 businesses, I can appreciate and understand where my various clients are. And that helps drive how we communicate, interact with them, and the kind of value services we are able to bring to them. So yes, I resonate very well with entrepreneurs. I love them because they are the engine house that keeps the economy running.
Amazing. You've helped entrepreneurs preserve over $15 million in taxes through your DECIDE tax reduction framework. Can you walk us through the core principles of this framework and how it differs from traditional tax advice?
So I'll start from what is called traditional tax advice. Traditional tax advice for most entrepreneurs, or what most entrepreneurs have experienced, is pretty much an accountant telling you to go buy a bunch of equipment, motor vehicles and all that kind of stuff towards the end of the year because it's a Hail Mary approach. What we do is we follow this framework. The D stands for deductions. So when anybody comes into our setup, we are first of all trying to get off the table everything they can get very easily. So that's what the D stands for. The E stands for just the entity, the type of structure that you use to operate your business. The C stands for credit, because credit for me is the government just giving you money to pay your taxes. Literally, that's what that stands for. The I stands for income shifting, and then the D stands for deferral, and the last, not the least, actually even the most powerful, is the E, which is elimination. So people can get to zero taxes. It's a journey. It's not an overnight thing. Okay, So that's important for people to know. So like the new tax law has come out, people should now be getting into conversation with whoever their tax advisors are, not waiting until it's tax time come April 15th.
Many entrepreneurs focus on top line revenue, but you're focused on helping them keep more of what they bring in. What's one of the most common and costly mistakes that you see entrepreneurs make with their business structure that impacts their tax efficiency?
I could go on a lot on that. I think the first thing is the wrong mindset to taxes. I typically will say to any entrepreneur that wants to get to financial freedom really quickly that they must see taxes as a tool and not a trap. Because taxes is really the government's way of incentivizing us entrepreneurs to behave in the way the government wants us to behave economically. I'll give a very quick framework on that. Why is there new 100% bonus depreciation with the new tax law? Just because the government now wants people to begin to invest again in this economy, buy more houses and put them on rent and stuff like that. So once you have the right framework, you can be sure that you have saved yourself 50% of the time it's going to take to get to financial freedom.
And you make a bold claim. Again, I'm chatting with Michael Uadiale, and you make a bold claim, Michael, that you can help entrepreneurs achieve financial freedom in just 5 to 7 years. What does that formula look like, and how do you help your clients set and achieve such an ambitious goal?
It's not ambitious, to be honest. I think it's just having clarity of where you as a client wants to get to and you telling yourself or making us know when you want to get there. And when we know and understand what your tax strategy, your wealth strategy is, we then build the necessary tax strategies around that wealth framework. Once that is done, because the reality is that for most business owners in the United States, I can say 60 to 85% are overpaying their taxes. In fact, the government's job is not to let anybody know that they are overpaying taxes. The government's job is they expect you to know the tax code and use it for your purpose. So what we really do is we accelerate the speed of reaching that happy place, because when you keep more of what you earn, if you are a disciplined investor, you are able to then reinvest that same money in some other things.
And Michael, what are some of the most overlooked tax efficient methods that entrepreneurs specifically can use for asset protection and wealth generation?
When it comes to asset protection, it's really very simple. One of the very basic tool really is the right entity type. What I mean by that is what kind of legal entity type you set up, and then how that legal entity needs to file taxes. So there's a difference between a legal entity and a tax entity. So most people will know what is called an LS, a limited liability company. Now, a limited liability company, it's a chameleon. You can tell it as the business owner that you want it to file taxes as an S Corp, a C Corp, or a partnership. Which of those choices you take is something you need to have some serious conversation with a good tax advisor. So that's on the and on the asset protection side.
Yeah, absolutely. And I know, Michael, you also have ventures in real estate. How does real estate investing serve as a powerful path to passive income and significant tax savings for business owners?
I think, honestly, United States hold one of the most unique positions when it comes to real estate. Real estate has very high levels of tax benefits, and it has just been super turbocharged with this new 100% bonus depreciation that we have. But when you really look at real estate, what makes it what it is the power of leverage, okay? You take money, you put 10 to 20% down into a deal. Sometimes if you find the right deal, you may not even be putting anything down because it's a seller finance deal, right? And you are literally using other people's money to trade. Now, the great thing about real estate is you get all the tax benefit. The bank who is giving you 80%, they only get their interest income, but you get all the tax benefit. That reduces your taxes if you are a real estate professional, and then you take that money and you just continue to do that cycle, that velocity keeps going. And that's one of the unique ways we are able to get people to that place of financial freedom in 5 to 7 years.
Amazing. And beyond real estate, what are some other key strategies for building a tax-efficient investment portfolio? Or are there any specific opportunities or maybe pitfalls to be aware of with things like digital currency?
That's an up and coming area of the economy. It's I wouldn't use the word speculative. I think it's more high risk than something like real estate that's more established. So typically, I would say you have to be able to know what your risk tolerance is before you do something like digital currency. It's great. I'm an investor in data mining, but you must be willing to accept the risk of what could come out of that. From my perspective, there is no better way to get to financial freedom other than investing in yourself. That's why I always find operating businesses is the fastest and quickest way to financial freedom.
Mm-hmm. We've covered a lot of advice in our conversation so far, but if you could give just one piece of advice to an entrepreneur about shifting their mindset from tax burden to wealth building opportunity, what would it be?
See the tax code and good leverage as a very quick way to making wealth and getting to your financial freedom. So for me, I'm writing a book that I call Taxes and Debt Make You Rich right now.
I love it. I'm excited to see that book. Michael, I want to give the final word over to you. Where can our listeners learn more about your firm, Smead CPA, and connect with you?
We are a national tax advisory firm. We have a total team members of 16. We work all across the United States. The easiest way to get a hold of me is to send me an email at taxes@smeadcpa.com. That's T as in Tom, A as in Apple, X as in Zeros, E as in Edward, S as in Sam smedcpa.com. SMEEDCPA.com. That's the easiest and fastest way to get a hold of me.
Yeah, and we're going to link in the show notes as well. Michael Uadiale, thank you so much for joining us on the air. I've learned a lot in our conversation, and we've got a lot more small business, jobs, and entrepreneurship when we come back after a quick break, some announcements, some headlines. And as always, I encourage you to get in touch with one of our sponsors, Tom Arabali, for all things health insurance. If you have questions about the Affordable Care Act and your healthcare coverage, you definitely want to get a hold of Tom. You can reach him at healthplanchicago.com, healthplanchicago.com. Quick break. We'll be right back. Don't touch that dial.